You're listening to Keeping It Real by Sean Gino.
This is a GinoCast production.
What's up? Welcome to Keeping It Real with Sean Gino. I'm your host, the one and only Sean Gino. This is episode number 7, My Spiritual Journey, Part 3, the finale. Thanks for being here, y'all. This episode of Keeping It Real is sponsored by Queen Bee Media. The team at Queen Bee has been helping clients grow their business through their digital media services for over 20 years. If you need help with your digital media, check them out today at queenbeemedia.co. This is the finale of My Spiritual Journey. If you've not listened to part 1 and 2, I'd recommend doing that first, then slide over and listen to this one. And also, be sure you subscribe and follow so you don't miss any new episodes. When we ended part 2, I was dealing with new pastor issues, and the family had just discovered that my brother was abused by a priest. Here it is, the finale of my spiritual journey. My mom and dad are out. And then as my kids, my oldest son moved out. He quit going. Now my oldest daughter, she takes the same path as my wife and me. Her mom. She gets pregnant early. She gets married. She gets involved in the church. And of course she did. That's what we taught her. Why wouldn't she want to do that? And her husband's family is the same way. Why, his parents did the same shit. Got a kid that went to Catholic college. And then Lisa gets pregnant again. Still doing the daily mass shit. Now, we've definitely eased back on all the Christian shit at this point in time. It's just kind of Catholic shit. Not so much. And Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer was definitely still around. But it was just kind of those two things. And some of the Catholic clients were dropping away. There was this new little Catholic website focus company who, of course, was a family of priests and, just this big Catholic family. And they launched this little Catholic software website fucking company. And they started taking all our fucking clients. And, I was getting a little pissed off about that shit a little bit. My ego, of course. Because I thought their website sucked. But we take a trip in July 2010 with my mom and dad. They asked us, they hadn't really been up to Minnesota in a long time. And Lisa's never been to Minnesota. Her kids have never been to Minnesota. Since my sister's death and my grandma's death, nobody really ever wanted to go back up there again. Because that journey there, it was even tough just even driving through fucking Kansas City sometime, or Overland Park. So we're all going to take a trip. My dad's going to rent a big van. He's going to rent like a big 15-passenger van. We're going to drive from Wichita to their house in Atchison, get in the van, and then we're all going to fucking go to Minnesota for a vacation. Mall of America. Fucking great, man. Excited as shit. Needed a break. I was excited to get back to Minnesota and see it, and man, it had been so long. And I used to love it so much when I'd go visit my grandparents there. So we go up there, and it's beautiful. The temperatures are great. You got lakes. You got shit to do. It's just wonderful. And we're sitting at this, it's a lake. in Minneapolis called Harriet Lake, and my wife's like, you know, I'd move here. And I'm like, for real? And I'm like, me too. You know, I'm like, if there's anywhere that I'd move, it's here. It is definitely Minnesota. And then it's like, do you think we can? I mean, don't know anybody. Everyone's dead. Like, all the family members are dead. It's not like we've got family members to rely on if we came up here. We'd be on our own. And it's not like we have clients up here. I mean, all of our clients are in Kansas, Wichita. We have a few, national stuff, but it's not like we had a plethora of clients to choose from waiting in Minneapolis for us. So, we're like, okay, let's go back and let's make a plan. Okay, like let's make this list. It's like, okay, so if we wanted to move from Wichita to Minnesota, what would have to happen? It's like, well, this would have to happen, and this would have to happen. We have to find a fucking place. We'd have to fucking, do this. We need a new car. I mean, like all this shit. And I don't remember how many, 20, 15 items or something. And then, take it. We offer it up to God. We pray on it. I'm praying on it. We're all praying on it every day. And, shit starts getting checked off the list. And it starts to happen. It's like, God, shit, man. I mean, this shit might be for real. And at some point in time, too, my dad started going back to church. I don't know how that happened. And, I mean, I'm definitely going to have a little episode with my dad, me and him. And that's something that I'm going to ask him, because I'm curious because like I say, I remember one Easter, my whole family's coming back from church. He's living in Atchison, driving back. So he drove back for Easter to spend it with us, have, Easter dinner and all that shit. My mom wasn't there. I remember my mom had to work, and I remember us walking up to the house, and he had got there early, right? So we were at Mass, and he was in town, and he was kind of just hanging out outside waiting for us to fucking get back from Mass. And we walk up, and he's like, how'd that fucking Mass go? I'm like, it was great, man. It was really beautiful. Got the music. Yeah, I don't fucking miss that shit. Fucking best thing I've ever done is getting away from that fucking church. And man, I just remember how it just made my heart feel right. Like, oh gosh, why is he so mad? I mean, yeah, I get his son was abused and my brother was abused, but I mean, look at all the abuse stuff, and you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and you can't, you can't turn your back on the faith because of a few bad priests. Because of a lot of bad fucking priests. And so that's where then once we move here, because we did, I mean, all that shit worked out. We're able to move here. We go all in. And so when we move here, I'm not wanting to break my rituals and traditions that I had been doing that I thought was helpful in attaining the ability to be self-sustaining and work from home on our own. Right? Like, I don't want to move and take that for granted that isn't part of what helped me get to the ability that gave us to move. I want to keep that going. But when we start looking to move, it's like, man, their Catholic schools aren't like Wichita. I mean, you can't just tithe and your kids go to school there. You gotta like pay this fucking tuition. Like, this is like fucking what? This is expensive. Like, I can't do it. And this neighborhood where these I don't even know where to live now. And where's all the I mean, I'm used to coming from Wichita where there's a lot of Catholic churches right now. I'm up here now and I'm like, oh, there's going to be Catholic churches everywhere up here. It's a bigger city. I mean, no. I'm like, where are they all? And why are there so many Lutheran churches up here? And then even when I go to the Catholic churches here, it's like, why is it weird? I mean, this one church, they don't even kneel, and then they like leave parts out, and the traditionalist in me is like having a really hard time with all of this, because I'm like, this isn't right. Like, you guys aren't doing it right. And I set out on a mission to find the most traditional Catholic church that I could find. And I did, man. I mean, you got to seek them out. But, man, they got them, you know. And I found out it wasn't too close. I mean, it wasn't too far. And it was worth the drive to me to go there to be able to get this true. I found the Latin Mass, of course. I mean, you know, like I was able to find all that shit. And so we move. But we can't afford Catholic school here. So these kids are going to go to public school. And I had 2 older kids that had really 3 older kids that had really been going to Catholic school for a few years, especially the oldest daughter that moved here with us. She was in high school. So that was a hard move for her, for sure. Leaving a Catholic high school, now coming to this new high school in this new city with absolutely 0 friends in a not only new city, a brand new school, and it's not only a new school, it's a whole new like culture change of school. Same with my youngest son. You know, he was in junior high, so he's used to all these rules and all this shit, and now he's got all this freedom, and it's just all different for everyone when we moved up here, because this College Hill that we grew up in Wichita, and this church and that neighborhood is truly in its own little bubble, in its own little world, and you can exist in there. You absolutely can. But it's unique, you know. It's unique for a big city type shit. And maybe that's the deal with Wichita, is that it's not that big a city. But none of the kids' friends here are Catholic. The church community isn't the same. The neighborhood is not all Catholic. There's no neighborhood church that like everyone goes to. Like, it's not, I can't find that. And daily mass is a struggle. Man, when I was in Wichita, I had no problem. I could get it early. I could get it at noon. I could get it at night, like in the evening. I could find a spot to get daily mass. Here started to be a problem. It's like, well, this one has it 2 days a week in the morning, and this one has it at noon one day, and then the morning 2 days. And it was just like everything's different. It's longer drives. I can't get it in a lunch break without spending 2 hours now for a mass, but I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. And, you know, we get here and 2 of my kids were only baptized. So all my other kids had all of the sacraments, the communion, the baptism, the communion, the confession, the confirmation. They went through all of those. I have 2 daughters that did not. They were only baptized. And so I'm here and I'm trying to get them into classes because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is very important. They've got to be Catholic. I've got to get them into these classes and they've got to take this communion and they've got to start doing this stuff, and they're going to burn in hell if they don't do this. And then what happened is we started lining them up and got the classes, and then the priest drops dead of a heart attack one day, just out of the blue. He was a young guy too. It's not like he was an old priest. It's like in his 40s. So he drops dead. And then I'm like, God, this is weird. Why can't we get these kids? Why is it such a struggle? We were having such a struggle to get those 2 in a class that they could get their Catholic education on. And then, over the course of the next 8 years of while we lived here, my daily mass rituals went down. They became maybe a couple days a week. We start missing mass on Sundays. Rarely going to church. And I'm not noticing any difference though, right? Like I don't notice a change in how I feel. I don't feel guilty for not doing it. Our business is still doing better than ever, to be honest. So the business is thriving. We're in this city experiencing new shit. It feels like everything's going really good. The difference is that there's no church involved, and I'm still carrying around some of this fucking guilt about it. Like, is it all going to come crashing down at one time? Because everyone's kind of done with church at this point in the family. And we're only going like at Christmas and Easter. That's about it. And I think it's just me and my dad and the whole family. Because him and I would go. Like when he would visit me, him and I would go to Mass when he's here. And, we'd go do that and go visit old churches. And but it was just me and him. Then COVID hits. And something opens up spiritually for me. And I start getting drawn into really looking into other religions. Other religions and their texts and what their beliefs are. And what I'm finding is that they're all kind of the same story. Like, as I'm looking at them, it's kind of very similar. There's a lot of very similar Moses stories. This baby in the river and saved and, all this. Very similar Jesus stories where it's a guy and he's crucified and he's resurrected. It's like, I'm starting to feel like, are these stories the same and just the names have been changed? What is this shit? And then I start looking into like the Bible and how the words have been changed over the years. And what the fuck is this Constantine motherfucker? And what went down at this Council of Nicene shit? And what are these Gnostic Gospels I fucking am seeing and rolling up on? And why were they taken out of the Bible? Like, I'd find them and I'd read them and I'm like, well, damn, that puts a little different spin on things. And these were in the Bible at one time, and who took them out, and why did he take them out? And what's up with some of that fucking symbolism at the Vatican going on? Like, really kind of looking at that shit. And why do they got this big-ass telescope at the Vatican? And teach us not to pay attention to astrology, but they're fucking looking at the stars. And what are they looking for? Like, why do they have the largest telescope in the world? And what's up with these early popes? And these crusades were really fucked up, man. And like all that shit. And it's this weird type shit over and over. And for the first time in my entire life, I'm starting to realize that I've got everything I need spiritually within myself. I don't need to wait for a savior, to worship things, to give all of this energy to this religion that is focused on such low vibrating shit. And that everything that the church was doing to me was fucking holding me back from my full potential. With all this fucking suffering and all this servant of God crap. And, you know, the more you suffer, the closer your walk to Jesus shit. And I start sitting in nature outside. Because we're not doing shit. We're on quarantine. Can't go nowhere. And I'm not praying. Like, for the first time, I'm not praying. And I'm not scared about what the fuck is happening. And I'm starting to experience this, like, oneness with all these living entities around me. And I'm meditating. And for like I say, I start to experience feelings that years of prayer never gave me. And I was starting to be able to forgive myself for all the pain that I've caused others. And I tried to be more open to helping those that I've hurt heal their pain. And I'm brand new on this spiritual path. I mean, this is a whole new journey for me because I'm doing it on my own, and I'm not going to be guided or led by anything or anyone. I'm going to let this flow through me, and I'm going to flow with it. But I've never been more peaceful. I've never been more joyful. I've never had more hope than I've ever had in my life. And learning about yoga, and learning about Tai Chi, and learning about Qigong, and learning how to move energy that's in my body properly, and what that energy is, and learning more about that energy and how we're all energy, and resonating more with reincarnation instead of burning in hell in this final eternity, and you get one shot, and if you fucking blow it, you fucked up. And very Groundhog Day-ish. Groundhog Day is my absolute favorite fucking movie in the world. Love that fucking movie. Well, probably because that's what our fucking life is. You fucking... Look, man, you fucking fuck up, you just come again. Another chance. Shit. This whole make your choice, do it well, you don't do it right, that's bullshit. I feel. I'm becoming aware that Christ isn't even a person. It's a consciousness. And we can all achieve this consciousness. There's not a person that's going to... It's this savior mentality is keeping us in fucking fear. And that we can all achieve this Christ consciousness. We don't have to wait for Christ's return. You fucking have it inside of you. But it's a consciousness. It's not an event. It's not a man. It is a consciousness that you can achieve. And I'm learning about the pineal gland. And what that chrism oil truly is rising up our spine. Up those 33 vertebrae. And I've learned that the pineal gland is the seat of Christ consciousness. And that it's shaped like a pine cone. And so I start looking at the Vatican. I'm like, why the fuck are there pine cones all over the Vatican? Why the fuck are there pine cones in all these old 1800s homes and fucking pine cones? What do these pine cones represent? What does it mean? The Vatican has a huge fucking pine cone in the front. What the fuck? What's the pine cone on all their staffs and shit? What's our third eye? You know? What does that mean when Jesus actually says, let thine eye be single and full of light? Like, let the eye be single. Oh, look at your third eye, maybe? Not taking the words that the church has interpreted for me, but truly looking at the words of Jesus, letting them resonate with me, and interpreting those myself. And it's parables, but it is what it is. Why is Jacob wrestling with God, calling the place that he wrestled with God Peniel? What the fuck does that mean? Discovering that the Gospels that were removed from the Bible. Who are the Essenes? Learning about who the Essenes were, the original Christians. We're not taught shit about the Essenes in Catholic Church. Oh, I know why now. Finding that we have to embrace, we all have this masculine and female energy inside of us. And we all have this little inner child inside of us as well that got fucked up growing up. And it's got some fucking traumas. And this holy family that they are like, oh, it's Joseph and it's Jesus, the baby Jesus, and it's Mary. And we should honor the holy family. That holy family is within each and every one of us. Because we all have a masculine energy, and we all have a female energy, and we all have an inner child that needs to be healed and loved and nurtured. And until you do that to that inner child, you'll struggle. If you have too much male energy, you're going to be off balance. Too much female energy, off balance. I feel like masculine energy is power, thrust, provisions, organizations. Female, love, receptiveness, nurturing, intuition. You have to have a harmonious balance between yourself and those things. You can't have all masculine power, thrust, fucking stuff, clubs, and no female side of that. But the problem is that if you try to talk to a dude about fucking embracing his fucking female energy, he's like, I don't know. What do you think? I'm gay? The fuck? No, I'm a man. I'm an alpha fucking male. Hoorah. It's bullshit, man. And that's the fucking problem. And same with females. They're taking on masculine energy. Like I say, thrust, that's a male concept. Thrusting. These fucking twerks that they do. This fucking bullshit twerk dance they do. Thrusting up and down. That's male fucking energy. And they don't even fucking know it. What's loving and nurturing or anything about that fucking shit? The Catholic Church is unbalanced too. Way too much masculine energy. The whole thing's run by a bunch of dudes. You know. They try to act like they got female energy with their Mary worship shit, but it's all a front. Because like I say, behind the scenes, it's all fucking masculine. And the world in general is fucking way too masculine. It's the problem, I feel. It needs more love. It needs more nurturing. It needs more intuition. And it needs more receptiveness. But the only way to achieve that is to crucify this dark shadow self that we all have. And become this new person. You know. That is more light, love, frequency and sounds matter. You know, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that there's certain frequencies that we can have that can help us resonate at a different level. I didn't realize that there are certain frequencies, just like if you play a frequency at a high enough pitch, you'll fucking shatter a crystal glass. I didn't realize that the same works for our cells in our body. And that if you have the right frequency attacking the right cell, that you can literally blow that cell up through vibrations of sound. I didn't know the importance of grounding. I had no idea what grounding even meant. I spent all last summer barefoot. I'm barefoot now and doing this. It's amazing. But I didn't resonate with any of this shit while I was Catholic. If you were talking any of this shit to me, you're fucking evil. You're fucking new age. You are on the wrong fucking path. Because I was taught to label things. It's good or bad. That's not Catholic, that's bad. That talks about reincarnation. Oh, that's really bad. And then I started thinking more and more about some of this sexual abuse going on with these priests, and especially my brother. And I'm watching him year after year, day after day, hour after hour, struggling with just surviving a day. And watching what that did to my mom too. I mean, I watched her so sad with my brother and really trying to help him through his pain of the shit that he got from not only the church, but of these beatings and shit. And then I start thinking of all these hundreds of thousands of other cases. And that those are just the people that have fucking had enough courage to come out and speak about it. And who knows how many others are keeping quiet, feeling shameful and embarrassed about what these priests did to them. And just like when I was Catholic out thinking that, they're saving people's souls. I get it. There's these Catholics aren't out there with bad intentions, trying to do mean things. I just don't like their projection of shit on me. And then the judginess of if I'm not doing it, I must be lesser than you and you must be fucking better than me because you're fucking going to church. Following same rituals that I fucking followed for 50 years. And my life's a whole hell of a lot fucking better. And I found more peace. And I've been able to deal with my mom's death more. And all of this shit. Because you're going to church. You are doing it better. And when my mom was in hospice, it kind of bugged me a little bit because, there's a few remaining Catholics within our family that are not immediate, but like extended type shit. And it bugged me because they're up there giving fucking sacraments to her as she's fucking dying. Anointing of the sick. Ain't no way she asked for that shit. I know my mom. I know how she felt about the fucking church. There's no fucking way she would have been like, oh yeah, please give me anointing of the sick here as I lay here dying now. No, man, they fucking did that shit when she's unconscious or something like that. Same with this fucking communion shit that they're bringing in. I know about the communion game because I fucking did it, right? I know all about bringing fucking communion to sick people in tiny pieces and placing it on their tongue for them. And they're fucking non-responsive there, but the family members are all there. Oh, yes, 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 please, please do. Please. They're doing that shit for the fucking family members. It makes the family members fucking feel better. And that's why it bugged me. There's no fucking way my mom would have been like, if I get bad, make sure I get communion every fucking day. But if it made them feel better, I guess I'm okay with it. All I know is if she would alert, she wouldn't have did it. And I understand why they did it. But look, it still bugged me. I'm not fucking holding a grudge or anything about anybody. I'm just saying. It just bugged me. And these same people are up there even giving my sister a fucking hard time because she just had a baby. And they're up there fucking giving her shit about why doesn't she have her fucking baby baptized. God. My mom's dying, but let's fucking do this shit because it's the same old stupid ass fucking rituals. And, now she's got to defend herself while she doesn't fucking want a kid in a fucking cult while her mom's dying. I don't like that shit anymore, man. And look, once again, I'm not judging them for it. I still love them. I'll still hang out with them and shit, man. But it still bothers me, and I'm still going to express how I feel. We're all on our own different spiritual paths, I feel. And we all arrive at these different locations at different times. And, my dad still might be going to church. I think it does help him with my mom, I think he was taking communion with her during that time. I'm not going to judge them for that, man, because like I say, I have been there myself when you feel like you've lost everything and all you can continue to do is give more and more to this church. But I didn't get shit in return, really, internally, until I left. And I've shared these things with my dad. You know, I'm discovering meditation and energy, and I'm finding a way to heal from some of this shit from my past in the first time. And you know, to be honest, my biggest challenge that I'm dealing with all this new shit is just separating what's new age woo woo bullshit versus what's a spiritual truth. And there's so much fucking bullshit out there that, I don't know, makes it a little difficult sometimes. You know? It's like, that whole new age shit can get real weird, just as weird as the fucking other side of Christianity or any religion. The more you get into it. And that's what I mean. I'm also finding that I'm probably never going to get this answer of who am I and why am I here? Probably a little much to ask for at this point. You know, what I'm just trying to do now is attempt to stop labeling things. I want to stop judging things and people. Focus on the words that I use. Words matter, I think. And start seeing that there is no good and evil. It's really just how we perceive it. I've got one daughter that's still in the church. It's that oldest daughter. And her and her husband send their kids to Catholic school. And their priest was accused of something sexual a few months ago. The pastor. In typical Catholic fashion, they do an investigation. Can't find enough evidence to support the victim's claims. He's exonerated and he can come back to the church. And he can be pastor. And it's almost like it never happened. And for the first time, I saw them questioning that with their faith. And questioning, should we really be sending our kids to this Catholic school anymore? And are starting to get involved a little bit more in it. And, but like I say, we're all on our own paths, right? So, would never judge them for that, for what they're doing. You know, all I can do, like I say, is share my experiences that have happened to me and my family. And if you don't share those or those things didn't happen to you, that's great. But they did to us. I think that the best thing about this spiritual journey that I'm on also is that Lisa's on it right with me. You know, this probably would have been extremely difficult to like be leaving this Catholic faith if either one of us were still resonating with that. And the fact that we're both on the same page with this has made it, well, it's really cool for one because, you know, we're both discovering these things together. There's absolutely no person in the world that I would rather go down this discovery of self spiritual path with than Lisa. And the other weird thing that happened this week, this Holy Week, is one of the domains we had was thecatholicwife.com. And we've had that domain, and we had a website there for years. And it was Lisa's blog, and she would go there and she would post about, being a Catholic wife and all of that stuff. Today, we finalized the sale of that domain. She stopped using it a few years ago. It's been sitting, and somebody wanted it. And so I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking, that's kind of cool too, because ends lead to new beginnings, I feel, and that's right where we are. We are officially at the end of our Catholic journey. Last spring we had a garage sale, and we absolutely got rid of fucking everything. I did find a little stash of prayer cards the other day, though, that must have got missed. Because like I said, they were fucking everywhere. But we had so much shit out at that fucking garage sale that people would come up. And I remember this one lady, she came up and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you've got so much Catholic stuff. Did you have like a gift shop or something go out of business?" No. This is super fucking Catholic. But the fact that domain was like officially released even this week, is just fitting. I look at that shit. I look at timing of shit and when things happen. And, like I said, that was a sign to me from the universe that this is what needs to happen, and this is the natural point of things. And I've really discovered that we don't need to be around sitting waiting for a savior to be saved by anyone, and nobody's coming back to do anything. That's how I got sucked into that Trump shit for a little bit. I went right from, oh God, we don't need Jesus. Jesus isn't going to do it, but Trump is. Oh, Trump's going to save us. He's from the light. Oh. Jesus. It's just another fucking cult. These fucking cults are everywhere. And I refuse to be led by fear anymore. Such as, if you do this or do that, you'll burn in hell, or good things won't happen to you, or you'll have that stain of sin on you and need to confess it. Whatever. We have everything we need inside each and every one of us. We just need to tap into that power. And I'm learning that, thinking about the past and resonating in the past leads straight to depression, because we miss that shit. Or we feel bad about something that we did to somebody during that time and how we've hurt them. The things that we fucked up on in the past. And then thinking about the future just leads to fucking anxiety. Food shortages. Gas prices. How are we going to pay the mortgage? Where will we get your next customer? Who's going to pay you? All that shit. That's worrying about the future. And so I really, really, really have learned that that's the black and white. The bipolar opposites. Think about the past. Think about the future. Think about the past. Think about the future. Black and white, red and blue. Yin and yang. The middle of that is where to be. Because that other shit is all energy. That other shit pulling you to the left and thinking about your past and your sadness and all these flashback Fridays and throwback Thursdays are all to bring up feelings of you resonating and missing shit in the past. And all this other shit on the news and all these, predictions and all this other bullshit is get you anxiety and worrying about the future. The apocalypse is coming one day. One day it'll be here. Be fearful for that and hope that you've made the right choice. Fuck that. Staying in the middle is the best spot to experience life from, I'm finding. Flowing in the river of life. That philosophy of flow, Taoism type shit. Don't even paddle. When you start paddling to the left or the right is when you start doing the fucking work and you think that you have control and you think that you're doing something. It just ends up fucking you up and getting you all fucked up on that river when you should have just flowed. It's been an incredible spiritual journey for me. And look, I'm still learning. Absolutely. And if stories like this resonate with you, and you know someone that it might, share it with them. Let them know that, look, if you see somebody struggling with it, if this can help somebody, because look, my life, it's amazing right now. I've got so much hope and so much peace and so much joy. I need more sun. Motherfuckers' vitamin D levels are low from all these fucking clouds in this fucking winter. And I'm needing some vitamin D. But look, we got spring coming, and so that's got me hope, right? And I'm going to be outside. I'm going to be absorbing. I'm going to get back to grounding and get back to nature and get back to all of that shit. Because look, when there's trauma in your drama, you can transmute your tragic into magic. It's a good one, right? All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Peace out.